Do not spend that small silver dime, because today we are talking about 4 Mercury dime coins that can change your luck forever. These coins look tiny, but their real power is in the details. Each coin has the famous winged Liberty head and real silver inside that collectors love. So listen carefully. 1 Mercury dime can be valuable because it has a rare mint mark. 1 can be valuable because the design is sharp and full detail. 1 can have a powerful hidden error that makes the price rise. And 1 can be a high-grade coin that shines like new, and collectors will fight for it. A simple dime in your pocket might be a treasure in the market. So look near the olive branch at the backside and check if the mint mark is strong or missing. Check for clean edges, bright silver, and no big scratches. These signs mean big value. Stay with me till the end, because today we reveal 4 Mercury dimes that can make you real money, and you might already have one of them right now. 1917 Mercury dime, winged Liberty head dime. Today, I want to take you on a journey back more than 100 years into the era when one small silver coin quietly became one of the most admired coins in American history. This is the story of the 1917 Mercury dime, also known as the winged Liberty head dime. And if you stay with me all the way to the end, you will understand why this tiny 10-cent piece can be worth far more than its face value, and how collectors in 2025 continue to hunt for it with serious passion. Let us begin with the moment you pick up a Mercury dime in your hand. The first thing you notice is the stunning design. The portrait looks like the Roman god Mercury, but in truth the face is actually Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap. The wings are meant to symbolize freedom of thought and freedom of expression. This classic design was created by the artist Adolph A. Weinman, and today it remains one of the most loved designs in the entire history of American coinage. Even people who are not collectors admire the Mercury dime because it looks like a miniature piece of art. Now let us talk about the year 1917. This was a time when America was stepping into a fast-changing world. New technology, new industries, and millions of new ideas were rising in the early 20th century. And right in the middle of all this change, the U.S. Mint struck more than 50 million Mercury dimes for the year 1917. That may sound like a huge number, but over the decades, most of those coins disappeared into circulation or were later melted for their silver content. Only a fraction of the original mintage survives today, and an even smaller number remains in strong collectible condition. So what makes the 1917 Mercury dime valuable in 2025? The value depends on several factors, and each one matters. The first factor is condition. If your coin is worn with smooth surfaces, faint details, and heavy circulation marks, then it will usually fall into the lower value range. But if your coin has sharp details, clean lettering, strong hairlines on Liberty, and bright silver luster, then the value increases dramatically. In the world of coin grading, every small detail can make a big difference, and collectors pay extra for crisp, fully visible features. Another factor is the presence of a mint mark. The basic 1917 Mercury dime from the Philadelphia Mint has no mint mark. The Denver Mint version has a small d, and the San Francisco Mint version has a small s. The Philadelphia coin is the most common, while the 1917 D and especially the 1917 S are scarcer and can reach higher market prices in high grade. But no matter the mint, every example of the 1917 Mercury dime carries real historical interest. The next factor is strike quality. Some 1917 Mercury dimes were struck with great precision and show full bands on the faces on the reverse side. These full bands indicate a fully strong strike, and collectors pay a serious premium for them because they are not easy to find. Now let us talk about the 2025 value update. In 2025, a typical circulated 1917 Mercury dime usually sells in the range of $4 to $15 depending on where. A sharper mid-grade coin can move into the $20 or $30 range. High-grade examples with strong details can cross $100 and more. If the coin has full bands, the value increases again, and some examples in top-level condition can reach into the hundreds or even thousands, especially at high certification levels. Rare registry-level pieces with exceptional luster and perfect surfaces have sold for very impressive prices among serious collectors. But beyond the money value, this coin represents something much deeper. Every scratch, every mark, and every smooth surface on a 1917 Mercury dime tells a story of 1 century of American life. Think about how many hands touched this coin. Think about the daily transactions it may have been part of. Maybe it bought bread during World War I or candies during the Great Depression. Maybe it was carried in a coat pocket for decades. Maybe it was saved in a jar by someone who understood that silver coins were disappearing from circulation. Every Mercury dime is a survivor of time itself. If you have a 1917 Mercury dime, the first thing you should do is protect it. Place it in a soft flip or a hard plastic holder, and avoid rubbing or cleaning the coin because cleaning can destroy its value. Then carefully check both sides under good lighting. Look for sharp lines in the wings above Liberty. Look for strong bands on the faces on the reverse. Check the rims, the fields, the portrait, and all the details. Even small marks can shift the grade level. If you believe you have a strong example, it may be worth submitting to a grading company for professional evaluation. Collectors in 2025 still chase this coin because it is a beautiful piece of art, a historical silver relic, and a symbol of the early modern era of the United States. No matter what grade your coin is, it holds real charm and is always welcome in any collection. The Mercury Dime series is loved worldwide, and the 1917 issue stands as one of the early classic dates that every collector wants. So hold your coin carefully. Study it. Appreciate its age, its silver, and its story. The 1917 Mercury dime is not just money. It is a piece of history, a piece of art, and for many people a real treasure. 1918's Mercury dime, winged Liberty head dime. Today we are diving deep into the world of one of the most fascinating and highly collected silver dimes in American history. This is the 1918's Mercury dime. A small coin from over 100 years ago, yet still powerful enough to attract serious collectors even today. If you hold a 1918's Mercury dime in your hand, you are literally holding a surviving relic from a very early period of American coinage. Stay with me because this coin is one of the more challenging dates in the entire Mercury dime series, especially in strong condition. Let us begin with the hook. Imagine finding a tiny silver coin from 1918 with an S mint mark right below the E in one on the reverse side. That small S may look simple, but it is the reason this coin can jump in value. It transforms an ordinary dime into a coin that collectors chase because it comes from the San Francisco Mint, where production numbers were lower and survival of high-grade coins was far more limited. Now let us step into the world of 1918. America had just come out of the heavy period of the First World War. Factories were rushing with work. New industries were growing. And the mint was producing coins to keep up with the rapidly changing economy. But the San Francisco Mint had a very different situation. Their strikes in 1918 were not always strong. Many coins came out soft with faint details, and many more were spent heavily in circulation across the western United States. That is why most surviving 1918's Mercury dimes today are worn smooth and very difficult to find with sharp details. Let us talk about the design. The Mercury dime is not actually a picture of the Roman god Mercury. It is Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap symbolizing freedom of thought and freedom of expression. The design was created by Adolph, a Weinman, the same artist who designed the Walking Liberty half-dollar. The front of the coin shows Liberty in a beautifully sculpted portrait. The back of the coin shows the fasces, an ancient symbol of strength, unity, and justice, along with an olive branch which symbolizes peace. That combination represents the balance of strength and peace, which was deeply meaningful during and after World War I. Now let us talk about why the 1918's is valuable. First, the mintage was limited. Only a little more than 10 million were made. That is far fewer than many other dates in the Mercury dime series. Second, the strike quality from the San Francisco Mint was not always sharp. Full bands on the reverse are extremely rare. The full bands refer to the horizontal lines on the faces. If those bands are fully split clean and bold, the price of the coin can multiply. Third, the 1918's circulated heavily. People used their coins non-stop during that era, so finding one with strong luster, clean surfaces, and crisp details is very challenging. Now let us move into the 2025 value update. In 2025, an average circulated 1918's Mercury dime usually starts from around $5 and can go up to $20 depending on where. A mid-grade example with good details can reach $30 and sometimes $50. High-grade examples with sharp rims, clear lettering, and visible hairlines can reach into the hundreds. Extremely fine coins can cross 200 or 300. And now comes the key part. A strong mint state example is rare. If it has even average strike, it can be worth $800 or more. But if the coin has full bands, the value can leap into the thousands. Full band examples of the 1918S are among the rarest in the entire Mercury dime series. Some have sold for more than $10,000 in top grades because collectors know how difficult they are to find. Beyond the money, this coin has powerful historical weight. Every mark, every scratch, and every smooth surface tells the story of life in early 20th century America. This coin may have passed through the hands of workers, farmers, sailors, bankers, or shop owners. It may have paid for daily goods during a challenging period when the country was growing and rebuilding. It may have been carried in pockets for years before finding its way into a drawer, a family collection, or a treasure box. And now, decades later, you are holding this surviving piece of living history. That alone gives the 1918S Mercury dime an emotional power that money cannot measure. If you own a 1918S Mercury dime, the first thing to do is protect it. Place it in a safe coin holder. Never rub or clean the coin because cleaning can destroy its value. Check the details carefully. Look for the strength of the strike. Study the bands on the faces. Look at the wings on Liberties. Examine the rims, the fields, the lettering, and the overall surface. The more detail the coin has, the more desirable it becomes. Collectors in 2025 still chase the 1918S because it fills an important spot in the Mercury dime collection. It is a scarcer date. It has historical depth. It carries pure 90% silver. And it represents a design that is still considered one of the most beautiful in United States history. Even a worn example has charm because it survived more than 100 years of use. And a high-grade example is rare enough to be considered a true prize in any serious collection. So if you have a 1918S Mercury dime, take a moment to appreciate it. You are holding a fragment of history, a piece of art, and a coin that millions of collectors respect. Whether your coin is worn or sharp, it deserves careful handling and admiration. And for many people, this little dime is more than a collectible. It is a time machine from 1918 to the present day. 1935 D Mercury dime winged Liberty head dime. Today we are stepping into the world of silver history and exploring a coin that many collectors overlook, yet it still holds powerful importance in the Mercury dime series. This is the 1935 D Mercury dime from the Denver Mint. At first glance, this coin may look simple. It may even look ordinary. But once you understand its background, its survival rate, and its hidden value potential, you will realize this is a quiet treasure of American coinage. Let us begin with a strong hook. Imagine opening an old box or drawer in your home and discovering a silver dime from 1935 with a small D mint mark placed on the back right beside the faces. You may think it is just an old coin worth only 10 cents. But that little D mint mark has the power to change everything. It identifies your coin as a Denver Mint issue, and Denver coins in the Mercury dime series often have a different strike quality, a different survival pattern, and a different collectible demand. So before you put this coin aside, let us uncover what makes it special and what it may be worth in today's 2025 collector's market. Now let us travel back to the year 1935. America was still recovering from the hardships of the Great Depression. Money was not flowing easily. Jobs were scarce. Yet people needed coins every single day to buy groceries, to pay transport, and to keep life moving. That is why most 1935 D Mercury dimes entered circulation immediately and were used heavily. Almost every single one of them passed through the hands of farmers, shop workers, factory employees, students, and families, simply trying to survive the era. As a result, most surviving examples today show clear circulation, which is why high-grade specimens are harder to find. Now let us appreciate the design created by the great sculptor Adolph A. Weinman. The front of the coin shows Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap. The wings represent freedom of thought and freedom of spirit. The back of the coin shows the faces, symbolizing strength, courage, and unity. The olive branch around it represents peace. During the 1930s, Americans were striving for peace and rebuilding their lives while staying strong through the challenges of the Great Depression. This design reflected the emotions of that era beautifully. Now let us focus on the coin itself. The 1935 D Mercury dime had a moderate mintage of just under 20 million pieces. Not extremely rare, but not extremely common either. What makes this coin more interesting is the strike quality from the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint often produced sharper, better struck coins compared to San Francisco. But not always. On many 1935D coins, the central details, especially the bands on the faces, can appear weak. Full-band 1935D dimes, meaning the horizontal lines on the faces are completely separated, are much tougher to find. And collectors pay serious money for that feature. Now let us talk about the 2025 value update for the 1935D Mercury dime. In the year 2025, an average circulated 1935D example usually ranges from $3 to $8 depending on the amount of wear. If your coin still shows decent details with a readable date and clear features, it may fall into the $10 to $15 range. A higher grade example with strong rims and sharper hairlines on Liberty can go from $20 to $30. When you step into the extremely fine range, the price rises to $40 and even $60. But here is where the value increases sharply. Mint state examples of the 1935D Mercury dime meaning coins that never circulated and still show original luster are scarce. A mint state example often sells for $100 to $200 or more in 2025. And if your coin has strong full bands, the price can multiply. Full band examples can reach $500, $1,000, and sometimes more in top certified condition, because collectors know these are far more difficult to find. But value is only one part of this story. The true beauty of the 1935D Mercury dime lies in the history it carries. Every scratch, every smooth area, and every worn line represents the life that the coin lived. It may have been handed from one person to another inside shops, farms, schools, post offices, gas stations, restaurants, or trains. It may have been used during moments of joy or moments of hardship. It may have helped a family buy bread or pay a bus fare. Now, nearly 100 years later, this very coin has survived and reached your hands. That is a powerful journey that makes this dime far more than just a piece of metal. If you have a 1935D Mercury dime, take your time to examine it carefully. Look at the wings on Liberties. Look at the strike on the faces. Check whether the bands are strong or faint. Study the rims to see how heavily the coin circulated. The more detail and the more sharpness the coin has, the higher its value and collectible interest. Make sure to never clean your coin, because cleaning destroys natural surfaces and dramatically reduces collector value. Instead, store it safely in a soft holder or a coin flip. Whether your example is worn or shiny, it is still a valuable and historic piece of American silver. Long after it left the Denver Mint in 1935, this Mercury dime continues to be cherished today. It represents a beautiful era of U.S. coinage, a powerful symbol of strength and peace, and a reminder of the lives lived during one of the most challenging times in American history. Your coin is not just a dime. It is a time capsule. It is a silver treasure. And it is a part of history that deserves respect and careful preservation. 1928 Mercury dime winged Liberty head dime. Imagine holding a small silver coin in your hand. It is light. It is smooth. It shows the gentle wear of time. Now imagine that this coin was minted almost 100 years ago, long before the digital world, long before modern machines, long before the age of convenience. This little coin survived the Great Depression, survived World War II, survived decades of circulation, and still stands today as a piece of American history. This is the 1928 Mercury dime, also called the Winged Liberty head dime. A coin that carries art, beauty, and meaning in every tiny detail. Let us begin with a strong hook. What if I told you that a 10-cent coin made in 1928 holds one of the most admired designs in United States coinage? What if I told you that this dime has collectors searching through old boxes, old coin jars, and inherited collections just to find a well-struck example? What if I told you that this dime made of 90% silver could be worth far more in the modern collector's market of 2025? Yes, this one small dime tells a big story, and today we uncover it. Now let us travel back to the year 1928. America was living in the final years of what would later be called the Roaring Twenties. The nation was full of energy, music, new inventions, and rapid growth. Nobody knew that the stock market crash in the Great Depression would just around the corner. The 1928 Mercury dime was minted during this dynamic period, a time of both hope and tension. Every dime made that year circulated heavily through the hands of store owners, farmers, factory workers, and families across the country. This coin was designed by one of the great sculptors of American history, Adolph A. Weinman. On the front of the coin, we see Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap. Many people think this is the Roman god Mercury, but it is not. It is Liberty herself. The wings represent freedom of thought, the freedom to imagine, the freedom to speak, and the freedom to grow. The face is soft, the details are elegant, and the design looks almost like a miniature sculpture. On the back of the coin, we see the fasces, a bundle of rods tied together surrounding an axe. This represents unity and strength. The olive branch wrapped around the fasces represents peace. Together they send a powerful message. A nation must be strong, but a nation must also seek peace. This design has been praised for decades as one of the greatest works ever placed on an American circulating coin. The 1928 Mercury dime does not have a mint mark if it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Only the 1928 S carries the S mint mark. The Philadelphia issue had a fairly large mintage, but the number of high-grade survivors is much smaller than people think. Most of these coins were spent over and over again, eventually becoming worn smooth and losing their sharp details. That is why collectors today especially value well-preserved examples with original luster. Now let us talk about the 2025 collector value of the 1928 Mercury dime. A well-worn circulated example usually sells in the range of $3 to $6. If the coin still has stronger details, it may fall in the $8 to $12 range. Higher-grade circulated pieces can go from $15 to $25. But here is where things get interesting. When you move into the extremely fine and about uncirculated grades, the price increases significantly. These may bring $30 to $50, and sometimes more depending on the sharpness of the strike. Mint state examples, meaning coins that still have original silver luster and no signs of circulation, are much harder to find. In mint state, the 1928 Mercury dime can sell for $70, $100, and in some cases more depending on the grade. The highest certified examples with full sharp details can reach values of $200 or more. Collectors especially look for strong strikes on the reverse. The horizontal bands on the fasces are very important. A full band strike, meaning the lines are fully separated, is rare and extremely desirable. Full band examples can bring significantly higher prices, often several times more than normal mint state coins. Now let us talk about the story this coin carries. A 1928 Mercury dime may have paid for groceries, bus fare, milk, newspapers, or even gasoline. It may have passed from one person to another in small towns, big cities, farms, markets, and schools. It may have lived through the early radio era, through the first talkie movies, through the rise of jazz, and through the final bright moments before the crash of 1929. Every scratch on a circulated example has a story. Every smooth surface tells of the lives it touched. Every worn detail is part of the journey the coin lived. If you own a 1928 Mercury dime, take your time to examine it closely. Look at the wings on Liberty. Look at the sharpness on the fasces. Look at the rims. Study the date. Study the fields. Do not clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly, and collectors always prefer natural, untouched surfaces. Instead, store it safely in a protective case or coin flip. Even a worn example deserves respect because it carries history and silver value. And if your coin has sharper details or even full bands, then you are holding a true treasure of early 20th century American coinage. The 1928 Mercury dime is more than a silver coin. It is art. It is history. It is survival. It is a reminder of a time long gone, yet still alive through the metal in your hands. Nearly a century later, this dime continues to shine with elegant strength and meaning. Your coin is not just a dime. It is a piece of America. It is a time capsule. It is a symbol of